Hey everybody, my name is Alex Merced from alexmerced.com, and what I want to do is just talk a moment about sort of good leadership. A lot of times people have different views on what leadership is. Like, a leader is decisive and basically imposes their will. That's why a lot of people sort of, appeal Donald Trump, because he was just someone who just said, this is what I want, and I'm going to do it, and I don't care what other people say, and they thought that's good leadership. I kind of disagree in the sense that that is a model of good leadership, because a good leader should be someone who empowers others to use the powers that they have better. Okay, I mean, for example, there's a book called The 1 Minute Manager, and I think that illustrates a good point. That in basically the story of the 1 Minute Manager is the manager only needed 1 minute of your time to make you a better worker, because not because they told you what to do, but basically you sat down with them and they would ask you questions, and the questions allowed you to discover what you thought was wrong, what was right, and allow you to discover how to break down problems, so that way you can better do that yourself. Basically, the idea was to empower you, because if I don't empower you, if I don't teach you how to be a better you, okay, if I don't get you down the right path, I don't necessarily need you to become amazing today. I don't need you to think exactly like me today. But if I can ask you the right questions to kind of get you walking down the right path, I don't necessarily have to be checking in on you, micromanaging you every step of the way. So good leadership is about empowerment, about getting people to learn to ask the right questions of themselves. Okay, and that's a difficult skill to make. But it's also by leading by example. Okay, people have a tendency of looking at the person above them, and that kind of establishes a bar for what is expected of me, okay, or what I will expect of you. So like if I'm what I see my boss do sets an example of what, because I can't expect them to expect from me what more than I can expect from them. So if they set the bar of expectations as far as the effort they're willing to put in, the reflection they put into themselves, the kindness, the understanding, responsibility that they exhibit, if I can't expect much of those things from them, then I'm not going to think that they should expect much of that from me. So then I will act accordingly, in a sense. So that's why these things kind of tend to be top down. If the top is dysfunctional, okay, and not exhibiting, a good example, then that's going to translate down the chain. 3, basically when you are a leader, you're working with lots of people. Lots of people are going to find disagreements with each other, and they're not necessarily always going to like each other. A lot of times they won't. It's not about getting necessarily everyone to like each other, and it's not saying about voicing who you prefer versus others. You have to be sort of a neutral conduit with which people who disagree and dislike each other can work. That's good leadership. And which does require you to sort of constantly be thinking about the things you say, the way you portray yourself, in a way that doesn't necessarily make people think you have a preference or whatnot. Doesn't mean you don't have a preference. It doesn't mean you don't have principles by which you clearly say. But the idea is you need to seem impartial. You need to seem that you're that person that everyone can trust to give an objective as possible thought on things, because they're looking to you for guidance a lot of the time as a leader. Now, as a libertarian, we want people to be leaders of themselves as much as possible. But good leaders are created by good leaders, because again, it's that whole idea of empowerment. So if someone's a good leader, they'll show you over time to become you will be a leader, you will be empowered, you'll be able to do things on your own. A good leader, or good leadership, means you will not need your leader over time. Okay, it's like good parenting. Okay, good parents, successful parents, in my opinion, okay, I'm sure people will disagree with me, feel free to do so in the comments, are going to teach you how to be self-sufficient. Basically, there'll be at some point, not necessarily you don't want to be with your parents, but you won't need to be with your parents. Okay, parenting is leadership. Okay, and it's the same principles for all leaders. Okay, the idea is to teach you to be a leader, to be self-sufficient, and be able to move the ball forward without the leader. Okay, a leader's greatest success is to not be needed. Okay, bottom line, let me repeat that. A leader's greatest success is to not be needed. That's when they know they've done their job. Okay, and yeah, And the reason is because there's a lot of people within the libertarian movement who are leaders, and there's a lot of people who can be leaders. And I'm making this video because I want you to embrace that and sit there and empower each other and shoot for leadership. Go run for your local chapter chair, vice chair. Go run to be a state rep at your in your state committee. And then when you become that leader, again, remember, your goal, a leader's greatest success is to not be needed. What can you do to make everybody else get to the point where they don't need me anymore? And then if you think about it that way, you'll be very successful as a leader. Thank you very much. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that sort of meandering thought on what is leadership. But I just wanted to kind of get that off my chest. You guys have a great day and enjoy.